Hello guys, welcome to the channel. Bob here. Guys and gals, actually, guys and gals, we're happy, we'll take anyone. We're not fussy at all, no one's excluded. And welcome back to another Everquest video. This is probably the first proper video in a series that I'm kind of going to do a few videos for. Essentially what I'd like to do with the series is just show you around Norrath, you know, around the game, different areas, some of the dungeons, and also, more importantly, I like to show you some of the mechanics of the game and how the game works. And I'm quite interested in sort of hearing from anyone who hasn't played Everquest before, you know, and maybe you came into MMOs on with Warcraft. I'm interested to hear, you know, sort of what you think of a lot of the mechanics and how Everquest works, because it gets incredibly harsh, you know. And I'm not sure that anyone who kind of didn't start off playing Everquest when it first came out would be able to deal with some of just the mechanics of the game. So I'm very interested to hear, as I kind of sort of explain some of how the game works, what people think, and sort of in particular people who have never played the game, whether they feel they can cope with some of the things the game throws at you. And one of the first things, I guess, is that there are really no quests in the game. You see all these corpses here. I killed most of these, and that's because to level up in any way, you kill lots of monsters. You know, it's I seem to remember, I think, sort of questing I mean, there are some quests in the game, but it is very, very minimal. From what I can remember, I think sort of Dark Age of Camelot was probably the first 3D MMO where maybe it's sort of the first popular one anyway, where it really incorporated quests as a pretty good way of earning experience. We've got a little sword there. Can we pick it up? No, of course we bloody can't. Okay, we'll have to drop that. Yeah, so as I was saying, Dark Age of Camelot, I think that was the first sort of more mainstream 3D game to MMO to introduce sort of questing as a fairly good way of earning experience. But Everquest didn't have that, you know. So what you find me doing here is finding a spot where loads of monsters are wandering around around my level that I can get experience from, and you just carry on killing, essentially. And it takes a lot of them per level. I mean, where am I? I mean, I'm sort of, you know, 2/3 of the way through level 4 onto level 5. And it's taken me, you know, I mean, I've killed a lot of mobs to get to this point. You know, I'm talking maybe 50 to 100 so far, and that's it. That is the game. You know, that is the core side of the game. Is standing around in areas, you know, where there are lots of monsters around your level that will help your experience go up as efficiently as possible, and you just kill them. You know, that's what you do. And so that's one thing that I was wondering how people would feel about doing that in an MMO. You know, if they'd never played Everquest before, would you be able to do it? Essentially, you know, if there were no quests really for you to gain experience from, and all you did was kill things, would that be something that will put you off? You know, it's certainly I find it interesting anyway, sort of how people feel about that. And another thing to take into account, which is obviously part of combat, is that unlike sort of games now, you know, I mean, I was just sort of having a little look in Lord of the Rings Online earlier on, and you know, you go into combat, the fight finishes, and pretty much your mana and your health are all back on full within a very, very short space of time. In this game, you have to think about how you're killing things, because to get your health back and your mana back to full, you know, you have to sit down to do that, and it can take literally minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, really depending on how much money you've got and health you've got, and how much you've lost and that you need to regain. You know, I mean, that's something else you got to take into consideration. I mean, the game was designed to be a massive time sink, and it really comes out in the speed that you're. I've got this. I want to get this Shadow Wolf because they're quite good for my level at the moment, experience-wise. I'd like to introduce a little pet, actually, by the way, little Mr. Bartik. He's my little animation guy. He's awesome. I don't know if I mentioned it, but Enchanters are a crowd control class, essentially. The main crowd control class. They do a bit of buffing. They've got a couple of really good buffs that people love and people hound you for. a bit of debuffing, a bit of direct damage, and they're a pet class as well. And I love my little pet. I mean, he's really cute, little sword and shield just running around, chopping up things. There are two main pet classes, the magician and the necromancer, but we do okay, you know, we do okay. Yes, as I was saying, crowd control, buffing, debuffing, bit of direct damage and a pet. Lots of other things happen with the enchanter as well, but I'll explain that as we go along. Yeah, so as I was saying, sort of when you're using mana and you're losing health, how are you going to get that back? You know, or how you're going to use as little as possible to kill mobs is a big thing, because it takes a long time. One of the spells that one of the buffs that people beg enchanters for is one that regenerates your mana quicker. Oh shit, there's a spider, there's a bear there. He just walked straight past me though. Yeah. So yeah, sorry. The one spell that enchanters get begged, the one buff that enchanters get begged for is it's called Clarity, I think, the spell, and it essentially means it allows your mana to regenerate much quicker, and spellcasters love that, you know, and that's a big spell, but because it is a big thing, you know, if it is a big thing for people, you know, you can find yourself sitting down. I mean, if I sit down now, for example, my mana's on 39%. If I just sit here for a moment just to see how long it takes to go up, and I'm only level 4 with not much mana, you know, it's up to 51% now. 52. So as you can see, you know, I mean, if I wanted to get my mana back up to 100%, I'm having to sit here for quite a period of time. And sometimes you have to. If you run out of mana, you can't kill things, so you've got to sit down and wait for it to regenerate. So yeah, so I hope I haven't bored you there. I'm kind of a bit long-winded on the explanation front, but for this video, those are the two things I'm quite interested in. How people who haven't played Everquest, how they think they would deal with those things. So the first thing is sort of only killing mobs, essentially, to get your experience. There are no quests to give you a load of experience, no quest chains. Essentially, all your experience will come from killing things. So how people feel about that, but also the other thing is with regards to sort of your health and mana regeneration. You know, because on top of the fact that you're most of the time you're going to be in combat, to advance your character, you've also got to do it efficiently, you know, because if your health or your mana get low, you could be sitting around for quite a long time regenerating that back. So yeah, they're the two things for this video that I'd quite like to hear what people think. If anyone's got any comments, that'd be great. But this is my little Berendar, my little dark elf enchanter, who's going to be with us, I hope, for a while. I hope I don't get ultitis and start creating other characters. But I will be doing some more Everquest videos, because I'm enjoying playing the game. There's just something about it, you know. I mean, I hope I haven't scared people off by saying it's purely combat focused. It is, but the combat is very good. The combat is very well designed, you know, nearly all the classes have quite a specific designed role, which they do, and they do that role very well. So the combat is very enjoyable, so don't let that put you off if you were maybe thinking of giving it a go. Anyway guys, I'm going to end this video now. This is Bob signing out, and I'll see you again soon.